Hi or hoi in Dutch. I am Olivia and I am sharing something really cool I got to do this summer. I went on a sustainable global experience with Pagoda projects. It was 150% carbon offset, and before it, we did a 2-day training to become carbon literate. So we got the Eurostar from London, and then we came to Amsterdam, got straight off the train, and went across to the north of Amsterdam to Clink Hostels, which is a sustainable hostel. And we had a little chill there, and then we went for dinner at the Gobel, which is 100% vegan and locally sourced. This was dinner, and we had this amazing Persian inspired dessert. It was like rice pudding with dates and this like pistachio ice cream. Amazing, and it was just like beautiful, and it was really nice to stay in the north because it's a different area, it's up and coming, and it used to be very industrial. Okay, boom. Day one, just doing a little meditation in the hostel to get me grounded for the day. And then I had some breakfast, and they had a buffet breakfast. It was so good. And I had some hagelsag, which is sprinkles on bread. And then for lunch, I went and got some croquettes. Very Dutch, very Dutch. Lots of dill, really delicious. And the day was going on a scavenger hunt with your group. I didn't really record much, but there was lots of different challenges to do, and it was just a nice way to break the ice and talk to people who were around you. And then I went to Harlem and met my friend Sarah. I had some Surinamese food because I didn't realize that there was so many immigrants from there because not educated. It was on the beach, having the best time ever, and it was just like such a beautiful, very Dutch summer. Okay, day two, we had a lot of free time in the morning. There was so much free time on this trip, and I was absolutely making the most of it. So I rented a bike and I went to explore the north because I haven't really been here before, and it's like a gentrified area. It's like an up and coming art spot. So I went for a little bike ride. I thought that I could do this. I bike a lot in the UK, but it's just honestly a different playing field in the Netherlands because as soon as they can bike, they can bike. Here I am, just wandering around. So I came on Google Maps. I was trying to find this art exhibition, and I thought that it was free, and I was just like walking around this warehouse, basically tulips, very Dutch. Obviously had to get a little clip of that. So you can just see me here wandering aimlessly, trying to act like I know what's going on when really I was actually lost. This is where I meant to go. Straat Museum. That's a very iconic picture of Anne Frank on the outside. I don't know how I missed it, it was literally a minute away. This was a lot more interesting to look at. They had loads of street art. It was just incredible. It talked about the history of street art. It had it from lots of different regions across the world, so I would totally recommend going here. Even if you haven't been to Amsterdam before, this is definitely a must-see. Then I just had some time to myself, doing some journaling because I'm vibing. This is my idea of a holiday. Then I had some kroketten again. Here I am trying to pronounce like I know what is going on in Dutch, but trying to get in touch with the Dutch spirit. Then as part of the trip, we went back to the Gobel where we went on the first night, and we got to learn about the clean technology they were using. This was just like a little playground for someone who's a sustainability geek like me. Like, I have never seen aquaponics in person. So I've read about this extensively, and it was just so cool to see the system where the fish and the plants are interacting with each other, and it's all sustainable and just like great for the world. They had loads of resident artists there, and I really liked this because they were doing portraits of people who don't typically have portraits made of them, and they had planters because the soil was contaminated. Then in the afternoon, we went for a workshop at Metabolic. This was like the coolest workplace ever. It was just like giving millennial, super cool, chill workplace. They had so many cool freebies of like food wise in the office. And we did a theory of change workshop, which was just so cool to see in practice. And I've studied this, but a lot of people on the trip studied different things and they hadn't done it before. So it was so fun for me. I didn't really take much footage, but like honestly, it was banging. I really enjoyed it. Then I went and got some East African food, like Eritrean, Ethiopian vibes. I love this kind of food. Like, I have Somali heritage, and I like to think that this is the closest I can get to it, because Somali food has too much meat in it for me. And the vibes were immaculate, and everybody thinks I'm Hashiba when I'm in there, and I'm like, yes, but I'm actually not. Day 3, starting off the day as we always do with a nice little meditation. Like, I love that this hostel had a little space where I could go and do this because it just makes me feel so good. Then we went to New Economy. This team was amazing. I was having the time of my life because they were like Paul Hawkins fans, and I had just read this book and they had it in Dutch, and I was just like in my element. Then we went to Nemo Science Museum, and it was all about consumption and what a better world might look like. It was just a nice little place to look at, and it was very interactive. Okay, so this meter has the idea of having an annual carbon budget per person, and I put on all of the different categories, so like food, energy, transport, and then I'm going to put on travel, and this, like, out of all the holiday options, is the most similar to something I would do, which was getting to Bali by plane. Now look at how I just go completely to the other end. The long haul travel thing is really interesting, but yeah. For lunch I went to vegan junk food bar. I couldn't record my food because my phone died and I had to charge it, but like, this did not slay. Honestly, the first time I went here I thought it was the best, but nah, they need to up the game. Then I was living my best Dutch life, walking through the city, and I finally went to the Anne Frank Museum, which I have been meaning to go to every time I've gone, but I always visit my Dutch friend when I go and she never wants to go. So that was just amazing. I'm so into my history and I've read this years ago, so it was very touching. And then I went on a mission. I love stroopwafels. Like, they're waffles, you can get them in Starbucks and stuff in the UK, but you cannot buy the vegan ones. I walked across the entire city to go to a supermarket just so I could get them, and I secured the bag. And then I went and I sat on the canal and I enjoyed myself because I am a super fan of these. I'm just having a little snack here, and part of the trip was that you did a presentation, a group presentation, and my group did it on the hostel, and it was evaluating its sustainability and what they might be able to do to improve. It was so fun to work with people who haven't had a background in sustainability like me, and our group actually won, and I got a free mug, and it was literally the best thing ever. And yeah, I got me a little lunch and I went for a walk around the city. This is a bit of me, like the two worlds combined, and I did a little souvenir shopping, trying to get little bits and bobs for my friends and family. Then we went for dinner on the house. This was divine. Honestly, I saw them take this out of the freezer and put it into the fryer or whatever, but it still slayed. Like, look how good that is. Love a bit of dim sum. And then look how Dutch my suitcase is. So much licorice, cheese, stroopwafels, Tony's chocolate, like too Dutch. On the last day we went on a canal boat tour, and honestly this was so memorable because the driver banged into the side of the wall and it was just like, God bless her soul. Got some Dutch pancakes for lunch because, you know, when in Rome, but the Dutch version, right? And I just want to say massive shout out to Pagoda Projects and to my university for having the funding available for me to go on this trip. This was like the nicest little trip, so up my street, so interesting, and just like chef's kiss. I would totally recommend you look into this if you get the chance, and thank you very much for watching.